Hi guys, and welcome back to the Color Junkies channel. So, oh god, my hair, whatever. Anyway, so today we are going to do a story time video. I have filmed this story time video for at least twice already, and I end up deleting the first part of the video, or I end up like not liking it and wanting to do it again. So here I am. So this story time is basically going to be like about my first time going to college and how I had a horrible roommate. This is gonna be like a roommate series, because I'm gonna like open up to you guys a little bit and let y'all know about my very first bad roommate. So a little backstory: I live in a private house with, well, I lived I want to say lived before I went away to college, in a private house with my sister. We had separate rooms. We had one bathroom, so we all had to share the bathroom. Even the grandparents, is only like one bathroom upstairs, so everybody had to share the bathroom. But my sister was young, so it wasn't like, oh, I need to do my makeup and that. So it wasn't like I didn't have issues with like people hogging a bathroom, or you know, stuff like that, basic stuff that siblings go through. I didn't really deal with that stuff. So I was so excited to come to, well, my first college was Canton. I was excited. I mean, it wasn't the school that I wanted to. As you know, I still have like old videos on YouTube of me talking about like Canton and Georgia State and all of that. But yeah, as you know, like I really wanted to go to Georgia State, but I got denied. I got accepted into SUNY Canton, so I decided to go because people that was in my school was going there. So I was like, hey, why not, right? So we had this little app, like roommate app or whatever, or find your roommate or whatever. The people that was going to Canton, I wasn't really close to, but I felt comfortable that I knew somebody going there. But I wasn't really close to them, so I wasn't gonna be like, oh, be my roommate, blah 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 blah. No, it wasn't gonna go down like that. I have never spoke to these girls again. I really had my first impressions about the girls too. Like I kind of sort of was like, no, I'm not gonna talk to them. I'm gonna go into college. I'm gonna get my own life. I'm gonna start some clubs. I'm gonna do my schoolwork. I'm gonna get a 3-point something. I'm gonna get, you know, a boyfriend. I just had so many ideas about college. So yeah, so we had this roommate app, and then like I would go on there every day just looking to see if my roommate would pop up. The roommates that they choose for you obviously would pop up, and it would never, like, I didn't have one. So when it finally popped up, it was 2 white girls. And I was like, okay, you know, that's cool, because I initially wanted to go upstate to college, like to go to college and be very diverse in the crowd that I hang around. Black people, white people, Asian people, everything. Like I was okay. I wanted to, you know, be knowledgeable and open in their culture, and you know, other people, like what they do and you know how they feel and stuff like that. So that's what I thought anyway. So I had 2 white girls, and I hit them up, and I had, you know, text a lot of them, and I would be like, hey, you know, they text me back, and they was like, hey, you know, it's your roommate, blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to bring? Microwave, a fridge, what, you know, blah blah. But both of the girls, I end up finding out that they both like lived there, and I didn't. I lived in New York, so I was kind of, I don't know, I kind of end up bringing my own stuff, like my own, not that I wouldn't share with them, I would share with them, but I just wanted to be safe and know that I had it, because if anything, they could go home and say, mom, heat this up. I live low from there. Anyway, that was my mindset. So I ended up bringing my own fridge and, you know, microwave and stuff like that. They were cool. They was like, I can't wait till you come, we're gonna do this together, we're gonna do that together. Of course, you know how it goes before you get a roommate. This is all the stuff you talk about. I told them, like, you know, I'm not a messy person. I just like for the room to be clean. Like, I don't want it to be spotless. I'm not like a germaphobe, but I want the room to look tidy, you know, especially if guests is coming over, that sort of stuff. You know, you go through all the runarounds with your roommate. You always tell them what you want, and sometimes it always be in the total opposite. But anyway, so yeah, you know, we all seemed like we was on the same page. It was no issues. So when I got up there, you know, my whole family came and dropped me down, and they said their goodbyes, and we cried, you know, all the college stuff, blah 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 blah. So all the college stuff. And you know, I stayed with the girls, and you know, they were cool. You know, it was cool at first. I mean, there was one name, okay, two of the girls. One name was, what name we gonna give them? Cece, okay. One of the girls' name was Cece, and then the other girl's name was Wing. So Cece and Wing, that's the names we're gonna use, because I don't want to use their real name, because I just don't want to get into all of that. So Wing was really cool and nice, and she was a homegirl. Now Cece was more like, yes girl, we're gonna go party, we're gonna do this. So she was more like, you know, we're gonna see what college has to offer us. This college, we're gonna go out, we're gonna go partying, I know some friends, we can drink, all that type of stuff. That's how she was, like legit like party girl. So you know, it was cool, because I'm like, I don't care, like I do both, you know. I can party one day and then I can stay home the next day and be cool with that. It was like whatever. So I end up making the friends that I came to school with, I came from my high school with, there. I end up meeting them there. We end up being cool. So most of the time I never stayed in my room, because I was always with the friends that I knew before high school, and we got to know each other, even though I said that when I came I wasn't really gonna talk to them. But you know, they were really nice, they were really cool, and their room was like their hangout spot. So like all the friends came there. I also met this other girl, and she was pretty cool at first too, and we hit it off, and you know, we started talking and stuff like that. And we would all just hang out in the friends from college rooms, because I mean from high school rooms. So we would always hang out with them, because that was like the hangout room. So me and my roommates, we hardly seen each other, but it was okay, because Cece was doing her own thing and Wing was doing her own thing too. So it was fine, because they lived up here. So like on the weekends they went home and they had their own friends, and I did cut out time to like hang with everybody. So like I would hang out with my roommates sometimes too, and like we would go and like hang out and go outside, and she did invite us to parties, and you know, sometimes we went out together and stuff like that. We never really, she invited us to parties, but we never really got there. Like when we just walked into one, it got shut down, then the next, like it was just a, you know, whatever. And I wouldn't invite the friends that I met from high school, because like it's a college, so it's kind of like, oh girl, I know the move for today, let's go here, you know. So it was like that. But she didn't have a problem with the friends that I knew from high school. Like they, you know, they knew her, and then whatever. I thought everything was cool. I thought it was all great. I thought we was gonna have a good time, until like semester started moving, and I don't remember when like the problems started occurring, but I just noticed little things, like how she would not clean up behind herself, and like her side. It is okay, it's a triple, so this is like traditional rooming, housing, or whatever it's called. Now they have like apartment like styles, but this was when it was one little room and 3 people in it. So everybody had like, we didn't have like, you know, we had 2 desks, maybe two closets, 3 beds, you know. So it was kind of like, you know, you kind of had to share with other people, and it was a small room, it's claustrophobic, so you really have to like First of all, I think it has to be clean, because if it's not clean, that smell or dirtiness is gonna stink up the entire room, because it's too small, there's too much stuff everywhere, you know what I mean? So it's like a room like you really have to keep clean. So I started noticing like her room would be mad dirty, like clothes would be everywhere, bra, panties, stuff like that, like everywhere. This girl was just like crazy, and I was just like, you know, I'm not gonna really say anything to her. Maybe she's gonna clean it up, because on the weekends she would always go home. So I'm like, you know, maybe she just forgot, maybe she's just gonna clean up, blah 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 blah. And she would always, and then after I, you know, I kept whatever. But me, I'm kind of like, once I see something, I'm gonna keep seeing it until it's get done, you know what I mean? Like, so if I have a problem with a fork being there and I see the fork there, I'm like, okay, you know, maybe she forgot about it. The next day the fork is there again. I'm gonna be like, really? The next day the fork is there again. I'm probably gonna text you and be like, hey, you left your fork here, can you please pick it up? Or, you know, something, because it's gonna keep on bothering me now. So I would see the room being dirty, she'll come back, go to class, go back home, blah blah blah, stay out with her friends, the fork is still there, I mean the room is still dirty. And it would be like that until like we had like this group text, and I would text her and I would be like, you know, the room is getting a little dirty, can you please clean up? You know, she's like, sure girl, it's no problem, I'll clean it up right after. And I'm like, okay, you know, she nice, she good. The room still wouldn't be cleaned. And then I started noticing like she having people over all the time. First it was people just coming over to hang out, and I didn't mind that because I was with my girls from high school, so I was kind of like, I don't, you know, I really don't care, you know, if she's not, you know, she having people over, there'll be mad people over, they'll be like drinking beer and stuff like that. And one thing about a college campus, well, the ones that we was in, you couldn't bring alcohol into the campus if everybody was like, if there was one underage person. So even if like you're 21 but she's still 18, it wasn't allowed in the room because like your roommate is underage, you know what I mean, something like that. And now if everybody's like over 21, then you can have, I think it's one wine bottle, one alcohol beverage, no, one champagne or something like that, you know, like one of each, and that's about it, like no more than that. But we were all underage, so that beer that was in the room, like it was, but I didn't care, I didn't mind, because I'm like, I'm hardly in here and I'm not gonna get in trouble for anything, because I'll just let them know that like it wasn't me, like real time snitch, it wasn't me. But anyway, so you know, she would bring her friends over and they would be cool and we have fun. Like we would prank the whole, like the whole unit, the whole hall, because we were on the second floor, so everybody on the second floor we would prank. They knew us, you know, it was like fun and games, it was like whatever. She would bring people over, then like the people would stay over. It would got to the point where like every day another person was laying in bed with her, laying in bed with her, laying in bed with her. Like every day was the next person. I don't know what they were doing, it's none of my business. Technically I could have been mad about that, but you know, I didn't care about that. But it was like, to me that was kind of like disgusting. And one thing that she said in the beginning, she said she has allergies, which I didn't think too much of, because I was like, you know, I have allergies too, my nose get a little stuffy, you know, girl, it's bad. So I just thought like that. But she was like, she has allergies, so she has to keep the fan on and the window open. So I was like, okay. But now thinking about this, we're upstate New York, past like Buffalo, Watertown, we like an hour away from Canada. An hour, oh, let that soak in. An hour away from Canada. So I didn't really pay too much mind to it. So then she, you know, everybody was sleeping in her bed. I didn't really care about that. I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, I would tell my girls here and there, like, yo, the room is a little dirty. She had people sleeping in her bed. It's like annoying, whatever, like that. But that didn't really make me blow up. That was just little things that was like I nitpicked about, and I'm like, okay, oh my god, this is a problem. Like this is something that she should work on, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm so over this roommate, I'm ready to move out. No, it wasn't like that. But here when the problem came in. It was probably October going to November. This girl had the fan on and the window open. It was freezing in the room. Freezing. Like cold in the room. And I was like, okay, you know. So I would close the window and I would take off the fan or something, you know, like leave it alone. Or every time she would, like, so I would leave the room, you know, so hoping it would get a little warmer. By the time I come back, I would leave the room, probably go hang out with my girls. By the time I come back, the window's open and the fan is on again. And she's not there. So I would close it again, turn the fan off, leave the room, come back, open again. When it's time to go to bed, I would, like, you know, like close the window, turn off the fan, go to bed. In the middle of the night, I'll be waking up freezing. So I had an issue with that. So I'm like, I sat down and I spoke to her. I'm like, you know, you can't have the window open and the fan, because I'm not from up here. Like, I'm from New York, like the New York City. Like, it's not, I'm not used to like freezing cold, and you having the fan open and the window open is crazy. Like, that's whatever, like that's really cold. She's like, oh well, I have allergies, and if I close the window and I cut off the fan, I'm not gonna be able to breathe. I said, you're not gonna be able to breathe? She said, yeah, like my doctor, like I really not gonna be able to breathe. I'm like, are you serious? So I'm like, no, you can't have, like, you can have either one or the other. Like, let's compromise. You can have one or the other, maybe the window open or the fan on, but you can't have both. Imagine if when it starts snowing, like, you're gonna have both on. She's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, because if you close the window or you cut off the fan, I'm not gonna be able to breathe. I have allergies. I said, well, I have allergies too, and it's not helping me, it's just making me very cold. And she's like, well, we don't have the same allergies, blah blah blah. I don't know the exact dialogue from the conversation that we had, because this was some years ago, but it was basically more likely like that. So I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna have to, you know, see what we can do, because this is gonna be an issue. So at least for the remaining of days, I would expect her to, you know, cool it down for a little bit, because we had to talk about it, blah blah blah. No, this girl kept the window wide open and the fan right in front of it, and I would turn it off and close the window, and she would have a problem with it. So I sat down with Wing about it, and I was like, you know, Cece has the window open and the fan in it, and like it's really cold, and I don't understand, like, what the heck. But Cece didn't really, I mean, Wing didn't really help me, because she's more like a I'm trying to stay out of it type of girl. She really didn't care. She's like, I'm staying out of it. Like, she was like, yeah, I understand what you're talking about, you know, maybe you should, you know, try to explain to her, you know, your side or whatever. But I'm like, there is no explaining to her, because I tried to explain to her and she's not even trying to compromise. So I'm not finna get sick off of you. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna get sick over here because you want the fan open and the window open because you can't breathe. So after that, you know, after me closing it, she opened it right back up. I got sick of it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do this. So I went to the RD and I sat down with him and I explained the situation. I'm like, listen, you know, this is not gonna work, because I can't have the window open and the fan on at the same time. Like, the window open and the fan right in front of the window blowing in my direction at the same time. And I told him, I'm like, I'm trying to compromise with this girl, but she doesn't want to compromise. She's talking about she can't breathe. Like, what the heck? So he's like, you know, okay, we'll talk about it or whatever. So then he calls both of us back into the office, and I try to explain to her again. I'm like, listen, you know, I can't have the fan open and the window open at the same time. Like, I'm not complaining about anything else. I could have been complaining about her room being mad dirty. I could have complained about the millions of guests coming in and out every day, but I didn't say anything about that, because like, she was a cool person, but we not just gonna rock with the fan and the window open, and that's not something that I'm willing to sacrifice. Like, I'm not gonna get sick because you can't breathe. Like, if that's the case, if you have a medical condition, maybe you should have told the college about that before they picked you a roommate to stay with. Like, that's just ridiculous. So I'm like, you know, she catching an attitude and she's like, whatever, and blah blah blah, and yada yada yada, you know, whatever, catching an attitude, whatever. The RD is not helping because he's like, oh, you guys are roommates, you guys have to compromise. I'm like, sir, I'm trying to compromise, but I asked her, can you rather put on the fan or you rather open up the window? But you can't do both. Like, there's no doing both. And in all actuality, I shouldn't even said that, because when it starts snowing, what's going to happen? The window is going to be open in the snow time. And if you like know anywhere upstate New York, it gets cold. It gets cold. Like, these people, when they hit 40 degrees, they happy because they think it's summertime. They ready to take off their shirts and stuff like that, because that's like, their winter is so brutal. Like, their winter is really horrible. So when they get a little good of weather, they get hype. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So the guy's like, you know, well, if this becomes a major issue, one of you guys have to move, and blah blah blah. So, you know, after that, she packed up. But we did have one indication, like, where she was, I don't know what she was doing, I don't know what had happened, but I know we started arguing really bad. Like, we was arguing really bad, not to the point where like fights or anything like that. Like, I only had one roommate to the point where I would have slapped the crap out of her, but the rest of them was just like, no, we was just arguing. And I seen her in the bookstore or something like that, so I walked in there and I told her something. I don't know what I said to her, but it wasn't something like mean or disrespectful, because I'm not the type of girl to like walk up to you and be disrespectful. But I was trying to explain to her, like, listen, you know, I'm gonna keep on getting sick if the window's open or whatever like that, and I don't, you know, you moving out, but like, I don't know what I told her. I don't even remember what I told her, but it was something like, oh, you know, something being nice, like, oh, you don't have to move out, you just have to, like, you know, pick and choose one of them or whatever. And she was like, no, because you're being bitchy and blah blah blah. So once she said that, it was over. It was a done deal. I'm like, okay, you're not gonna sit here and disrespect me in that way. I don't care what it is. Like, she didn't call me a bitch, but she said you're being bitchy and stuff like that. First of all, I never spoke to her any curse word. I've never cursed at her. I've never said anything disrespectful to her. So I was just like, okay, now you can definitely leave. So she, after that, she ended up moving out. She don't talk, she didn't I never spoke to her after that. I seen her around, but I just never spoke to her. And she also stopped talking to Wing too, which was crazy because Wing had absolutely nothing to do with it. She just felt like because Wing stayed and like she moved out and stuff like that, and she knew Wing before like she met me or they had the woman with me, they knew each other. So it was like whatever, I didn't even care. I was just like, okay, bye, see ya. I heard she's crazy now, she take drugs. But anyway, so yes guys, that is my roommate number one, the first roommate I ever had. And it came to a crazy part. I truly have to say I did condone myself in a great way. I did not curse her. There was no craziness going on between me and her. I did not, like, I wasn't even petty. If you'd like to hear the second one, make sure you like this video and make sure you comment your roommate experience down below also, because I would love to hear, do you have any terrible roommates that you had in the past? Let me know. So I won't feel alone, because you know I had horrible roommates. I still to this day still can't pick a good roommate. I don't know why. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos. Yes, girl. Yes, Junkie. So, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, Junkies.